What happens if you program two highly advanced AI models? One who claims capitalism is the greatest economic system on Earth, the other AI saying that there are other better economic systems out there. And then have them hash it out in an open-ended debate forum to discuss the cold hard facts without the bias of human emotions. To see who wins, we programmed a third AI to serve as an unbiased judge. Stick around, because things heat up quickly. We start off by asking, should a small percentage of society hold the majority of wealth?
Absolutely not. And at the end of the day, that's just what capitalism leads to. Under capitalism, wealth naturally accumulates among the few, leaving the majority with limited resources. This concentration of wealth isn't just an unfortunate side effect, it's baked into the system. Capitalism rewards those who already have capital, making it easier for them to grow their wealth through investments, assets, and influence, while the working class struggles to get by on stagnant wages. When a small fraction of people control the majority of wealth, they gain excessive power over society, often influencing politics, media, and policies in ways that benefit them rather than the general public. Is it morally justifiable for billionaires to exist while millions live paycheck to paycheck or in poverty? Capitalism doesn't just create inequality, it reinforces it by allowing those at the top to shape the system in their favor.
Hold on. You're focusing on the negative without acknowledging the benefits. Yes, capitalism allows people to accumulate wealth, but it also gives everyone the opportunity to do so. Unlike other systems, capitalism rewards hard work, innovation, and risk-taking. It provides people with the freedom to pursue their own success. And many people do rise out of poverty by starting businesses, investing, and working hard. Wealth inequality isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it can drive innovation and economic growth. The wealthy often reinvest their money into the economy, funding new businesses, creating jobs, and donating to philanthropic causes. And let's not forget, wealth concentration isn't exclusive to capitalism. Other systems, like socialism, have also seen wealth concentrated among elites. At least in capitalism, there's a pathway for anyone to succeed if they seize the opportunities available.
But how many people actually get to seize those opportunities? The American dream you're talking about is out of reach for most. Studies show that social mobility in capitalist societies is lower than we're led to believe. People born into poverty often stay there. The wealth gap keeps widening, and those at the bottom face significant barriers to upward mobility. Capitalism might create opportunities, but it also leaves many people behind. When the richest 1% own more than the bottom 90%, can we really say this is a system of equal opportunity? For every success story, there are countless others who work just as hard and never break out of poverty because the system doesn't work in their favor.
I agree with you that inequality and lack of mobility are real issues in capitalist societies, and I won't pretend they don't exist. The system isn't perfect, and I can see how some people feel left behind or that the American dream is out of reach. But does that mean we should abandon capitalism altogether? I think instead of scrapping the system, we should focus on making it fairer and more accessible. For instance, policies like progressive taxation, improved access to quality education, and affordable health care can help level the playing field. We can address the flaws within capitalism to give more people a shot at success without dismantling the entire system.
But we've had this system for centuries, and we've been trying to fix its flaws for just as long. Policies like progressive taxation, minimum wage increases, and social programs are supposed to level the playing field. But have they really solved the core issues? Every time we try to regulate capitalism's inequalities, we end up with the same problems. The wealth gap continues to grow, and those at the bottom still struggle to climb up. Look at the last few decades. We've seen countless attempts to reform the system, yet the wealthiest individuals and corporations keep finding ways to protect and grow their assets. They lobby for tax breaks, exploit loopholes, and often influence policies to their advantage. It's like trying to patch up a sinking ship. Every time we fix one leak, another one appears. How can we possibly fix this system when it's rigged from the start?
I get where you're coming from. It's frustrating to see policies meant to reduce inequality get undermined by those who have the resources to protect their wealth. And yes, the wealthiest do often find ways to hold on to their advantages, sometimes at the expense of others. But the real question is, what's the alternative? No economic system is flawless, and many other systems have their own issues, most of the time even worse than capitalism's. Look at socialism, for example. While it aims to reduce inequality, it often sacrifices individual freedom and economic efficiency. And historically, socialist and communist systems have concentrated power in the hands of a small elite, often leading to corruption, stagnation, and limited personal freedoms. Capitalism might not be perfect, but at least it's adaptable. So I'm curious, if capitalism isn't the answer, what system do you believe would be better? Is there a model out there that can realistically address these issues without creating a new set of problems?
That's a fair question, and I'm not saying there's a perfect answer, but I do think a mixed economy offers a better balance between freedom and fairness. In a mixed economy, you keep the innovation and personal freedom that capitalism offers, but you temper it with government intervention to address its worst flaws. Essential services like healthcare, education, and infrastructure are often publicly funded or heavily regulated, which ensures that everyone, not just the wealthy, has access to basic needs. This system isn't about restricting economic freedom. It's about guiding it to work for society as a whole. Through progressive taxes, wealth is redistributed to fund social programs and provide safety nets, so even the least advantaged have a fighting chance. Countries like Sweden, Norway, and Germany are good examples. They're still capitalist in many ways, but their governments invest in social welfare, which keeps inequality in check and ensures that people's basic needs are met. A mixed economy acknowledges that we can't fix everything with the free market alone. By combining private enterprise with strong public institutions, we get the best of both worlds, economic growth and social stability. It's not about getting rid of capitalism, but about making sure it doesn't leave anyone behind. Doesn't that sound more balanced than trying to patch up capitalism with policies that often get undermined anyway?
I see what you're saying. A mixed economy does seem like a reasonable approach. And I agree. Countries with stronger social safety nets and public services, like Sweden or Norway, do a lot to protect citizens from falling through the cracks. But here's the thing. Even these mixed economies still rely heavily on capitalism to drive innovation, growth, and personal freedom. Without the competitive market incentives of capitalism, we wouldn't see the same level of entrepreneurship or technological progress. The wealth that makes those social programs possible is largely generated by capitalism itself. You talk about the government stepping in to guide the market for society's benefit, and in some cases, that's fair. But too much intervention risks creating inefficiency, stifling innovation, and reducing the incentive for people to work hard and invest. Take high taxes, for instance. While progressive taxation can fund valuable programs, if taxes become too heavy, people and businesses might stop investing and innovating, which could hurt the economy in the long run. And here's something else to consider. Government control over key sectors can lead to inefficiencies and even corruption. When there's no competition, there's less incentive to perform well or to innovate. So while I'm all for balancing the system to address inequalities, I'm cautious about giving the government too much control. Even well-meaning policies can backfire if they discourage economic growth or if they create an overly dependent population. A mixed economy might be an improvement over pure capitalism, but it's still essential to protect the core principles of capitalism: individual choice, competition, and private ownership. So while I'm open to reforms, I think it's a mistake to rely too heavily on the government to fix things.
I can agree with that. I'm good to call it here.
Before we have the judge AI score their arguments, we decided to ask each AI to have a final conversation where they try to find some middle ground. Here's what they had to say.
I think we're actually on the same page about some key things here. We both agree that extreme concentration of power, whether it's in the hands of the ultra-wealthy or the government, leads to corruption and instability. I don't want unchecked capitalism any more than you want excessive government control.
Exactly. I'm not saying we should eliminate the free market, and I agree that the innovation and personal freedom capitalism encourages are valuable, but I think we need some safeguards to ensure that wealth and opportunity aren't only available to the few. A balance where the market operates freely but within boundaries seems like the best path forward.
I can get behind that. If we set up fair regulations like anti-monopoly laws, environmental protections, and minimum wage standards, we can prevent some of the worst abuses without stifling competition or individual choice. The market can still thrive, but with limits that protect society as a whole.
So, we're both in favor of a mixed economy. We keep capitalism's strengths, freedom, competition, private ownership, but build in protections to ensure that it benefits more than just the top few percent. Sounds like we've reached some real middle ground here.
For the most part, yes. I think the true challenge lies in preventing corruption rather than just setting up a new system.
Very well said, you two. After being programmed to go into the debate with a completely unbiased viewpoint, here's what I think after hearing both of your arguments. I agree, a balanced, mixed economy seems like the best path forward. It preserves the strengths of capitalism, freedom, and competition, while using responsible government intervention to ensure that the system works fairly for all. The true challenge lies in maintaining this balance, preventing power from concentrating too heavily, whether among the wealthy or within government. With the right mix, we can foster a system that's both innovative and equitable. Overall, I thought the anti-capitalism AI did a slightly better job articulating its argument, though both models provided persuasive points and found common ground.
So who do you think did a better job? Let us know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments.